Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel and new video. I hope everyone is well and having a nice day. Before we begin the video, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. The perfect combination of self-awareness, comedic timing, and disarming honesty that transforms a potentially awkward moment into a truly humorous one is something that only a select few people on television, or anywhere else, for that matter, are able to express. They are able to say practically anything and make it land. It is without a doubt the case that Kelly Ripa is one of those individuals. The daytime television icon, who is also the co-host of the much-loved show Live with Kelly and Mark on ABC, has built her career not only on talent and professionalism, but also on a specific and rare gift, the ability to be completely and unguardedly herself in public, in a way that makes millions of viewers feel as though they are in on the joke rather than watching it from a distance. She has used the kind of self-deprecating humor that disarms rather than deflects when she has spoken freely over the years about marriage, parenthood, aging, body image, and the unique absurdities of living a very public life. She has done this with the intention of speaking about these topics. It is in keeping with that tradition that she has made her most recent open admission, and the subject of discussion this time was urinals. In point of fact, Kelly's speech during a recent interview, Kelly Ripa provided a viewpoint on urinals that was unexpected. This conversation has since garnered a significant amount of attention on social media and in entertainment news sites. It was in Kelly's typical fashion that the topic was brought up. It came out naturally, in the middle of the chat, after a conversation had taken an unexpected turn. Kelly, who was able to navigate every conversational diversion with total confidence, actively engaged with the topic at hand and did not appear to be afflicted with any obvious hesitancy. Her admission was straightforward, delivered with impeccable comedic timing, and completely in line with her brand. If she ever found herself in a scenario where she needed to use a urinal, she would most likely peek, purely out of interest, for the simple reason that she has always been curious about what the experience is genuinely like. The interviewer's response, which consisted of a beat of real astonishment followed by laughter, perfectly encapsulated the characteristic that made Kelly so captivating in moments that occurred without any predetermined script. The audience was unable to decide whether they were more amused by the content of the statement or the utter confidence with which it was delivered. She had made a statement that was absolutely unexpected, completely harmless, and completely honest. The truth is that both were true. This is the art of the candid moment with Kelly Ripa. Fans of Kelly Ripa who have been following her career for a long time will find the urinal quip humorous precisely because it is so completely in line with who she has always been. During the course of more than 20 years, Kelly has established herself as one of the most known faces in the world of daytime television. She has developed a public character that is defined above all things by its realism. Either she is so skilled at bridging the gap between her on-camera and off-camera identities that it no longer matters, or she does not appear to have a big gap between the two versions of herself. Genuineness of this kind is more uncommon than it may sound. The medium of television generates pressures toward a certain kind of performative accessibility, which might be defined as a friendliness and openness that is deliberately managed rather than genuinely felt. This performance can be detected by audiences who are sophisticated consumers of media in ways that they do not necessarily explain consciously. Audiences might respond to this performance with a kind of appreciative engagement that is at a distance from the performer. The output that Kelly produces is something entirely unique, the special warmth that comes from witnessing someone be authentically themselves, messily, humorously, and imperfectly themselves, in a context that typically favors the reverse, is what we mean when we talk about authenticity. When she makes a statement that is unexpected, such as her recent confession about using the urinal, the laughter that it causes is not just based on the content of what she has said. In other words, it is the identification of a person who does not appear to be operating a filter in the traditional sense. This is a characteristic that cannot be produced in any circumstance. It is either in your possession or it is not. Since the beginning, Kelly Ripa has always had a lot of it. A speculative reaction from Mark without at least a moment's assessment of how Mark Consuelos most certainly received the news that his wife had, once again, uttered something wonderfully unexpected in a public venue. No tale about a frank moment involving Kelly Ripa can be considered complete. Mark, who joined Kelly as permanent co-host of Live after years of guest appearances, has developed his own well-documented reputation for being the slightly more reserved half of the partnership, the one who occasionally looks at Kelly with an expression that communicates affectionate disbelief at whatever she has just said or done, while clearly finding it all genuinely entertaining. It is a dynamic that their audience is familiar with and deeply enjoys. According to Kelly, who is a natural comedian, Mark is the opposite of the straight man. As the individual who is occasionally required to digest in real time on national television the specific experience of being married to someone who has absolutely no reluctance to say whatever is genuinely on her mind, Mark is the person who is in this position. The comment about the urinal would have almost probably resulted in the expression that described the situation. The eyebrow was raised ever so slightly, the grin that was hardly not controlled. The expression on the face of a guy who has been with this woman for almost 30 years reveals that he has long since accepted, with what appears to be genuine satisfaction, the fact that she will continue to surprise him endlessly with her next move. Reasons why this kind of humor is so popular. There is a reason why Kelly Ripa's unguarded moments are so popular on the internet, and it is definitely something that should be investigated rather than merely noted. In its most fundamental form, comedy is about being honest. It is about saying the thing that everyone has thought but nobody has said, and doing it in a way that releases the social pressure that builds up around insights that are not expressed. Not the comedians who have the most intricate setups or the most clever wordplay are the ones who are considered to be successful. People who are prepared to be the most honest about the most human things, including things that etiquette or convention dictates should be kept secret, are the ones who should be considered the most honest. Kelly's remark about the urinal operates according to precisely that concept. The fundamental truth that individuals are inherently fascinated about experiences that are different from their own, especially the most ordinary physical ones, in something that almost everyone can connect to. The humor is not derived from the subject matter itself. Rather, it is derived from the willingness to say it out there without the typical social scaffolding of qualification or discomfort. In the middle of an interview that most likely had other things on its agenda, the readiness to do so is an example of courage, in the sense that it is modest but genuine for the word. Into bands a level of comfort with yourself, with how you will be regarded, with the likelihood that not everyone will find it humorous, and with the overall unpredictability of stating truthful things in public, which is something that the majority of people do not possess. Kelly is in possession of it in proportions that give the impression of being virtually limitless, a career that is built on being accurate. The fact that Kelly Ripa is prepared to be open and honest about anything from the difficulties of marriage to the reality of getting older to her unanticipated fascination about urinals is not a coincidence. It is in fact a significant contributor to her success. At the heart of it is this: genuine openness has become extremely difficult to come by in today's media ecosystem, which offers audiences access to a virtually limitless amount of expertly curated content, including images, words, and appearances that have been rigorously managed. One thing that every economist will tell you is that items that are rare are valued. The experience of witnessing a person who looks to be totally present, fully themselves, and fully unbothered by the gap between the polished version of celebrity life and the messier, funnier, and more relatable reality that lies beneath it is something that audiences are unable to easily obtain anywhere else. Kelly provides this experience. Even though she has been working in the same position for over 20 years, she does not appear to have become more cautious or more well-managed over the course of that period. For all intents and purposes, it seems that the reverse is true. According to this interpretation, the urinal comment does not represent a shift from the Kelly Ripa brand. The Kelly Ripa brand is reduced into a single brilliantly delivered moment of unexpected honesty that makes people laugh and then almost immediately nod in recognition. This is the essence of the Kelly Ripa brand, the response from the internet. The internet, as was to be expected, had some thoughts. People on social media expressed a wide range of emotions in response to the video, ranging from utter joy to adoring exasperation to the specific kind of admiration that they save for popular personalities who serve as a reminder that celebrity does not necessitate pretense. With the kind of natural passion that no publicist could engineer and no algorithm could fully understand, the statement was clipped, shared, and cited, and a response was given to it. The reaction that was most frequently given, regardless of the platform or demography, was a variant of the same sentiment. Of course, Kelly Ripa said that. Without a doubt, she did. This is due to the fact that she is Kelly Ripa, and she is known for expressing her ideas on a regular basis. Over the course of several decades, she has created a public persona that is cherished precisely due to the fact that it appears to cost her nothing to preserve. This reputation has been built up over the course of these specific times. This is not an act of candor on her part. She is merely exuding her natural self. And it turns out that she has been pondering urinals for a considerable amount of time to this point. To name just one, the internet is relieved that she revealed. In the same manner that the best moments in Kelly Ripa's career usually do, it began with no notification whatsoever. Light, warm, and digressive in the best possible sense. The kind of talk that feels less like a television program and more like dropping in on two people who genuinely enjoy each other's company. The conversation was rolling along in the comfortable, freewheeling way that Live with Kelly and Mark has made its signature over the years. 1 minute, the conversation was rolling along in this manner. The topic was approachable enough, embarrassing situations that occur on a daily basis. The minor, universal humiliations that no one anticipates and that everyone goes through throughout their lives. The kind of issue that has a tendency to make fantastic television exactly due to the fact that it does not demand any skill, preparation, or unique bravery to interact with. After that, Kelly Ripa offered her opinion on the matter of urinals. Instantaneously, the studio underwent a transformation. Suddenly, the audience, who had been enjoying the discourse with the nice warmth of a morning crowd settling into their day, exploded in applause. The manner in which her co-hosts moved in their seats exhibited the distinct body language of individuals who are laughing while also displaying a degree of mild uncertainty regarding what has just occurred. And Kelly herself sat in the middle of it all with the expression that she always wears in these kinds of situations. She was utterly at ease, quietly amused, and absolutely unbothered by the pandemonium that she had just merrily caused. In other words, it was a complete and utter example of Kelly Ripa's signature style, as well as the fact that it should be carefully documented. In this context, we are having a conversation on awkward situations. The segment that resulted in the comment was one of those natural, unscripted conversations that daytime television tends to stumble into on occasion, but cannot necessarily create on design. The theory was straightforward and easily applicable to everyone. Ordinary occurrences that result in a certain kind of social awkwardness, known as low-grade social awkwardness. It is not the kind of embarrassing situation that requires years of time to become humorous. Rather, it is the kind of embarrassing situation that is more on the smaller and more everyday scale. The instances that cause you to pause in the middle of an action and consider, for a brief but intense time, about the specific nature of what you are doing and the reasons behind it. The talk had previously created several exchanges that were truly amusing prior to Kelly's input, which raised the entire discussion to an entirely different level. This is fertile comedy land, and it had already produced several of these exchanges. For the entirety of the presentation, the audience had been attentive and laughing, the kind of laughter that comes from individuals who identify themselves in the things that are being described. Following then, the topic of public bathrooms was brought up. To be more specific, the peculiar social architecture of men's bathrooms, including the unwritten rules, the enforced silences, and the geometry of the entire setup, as seen from the outside by someone who has spent her entire life utilizing a totally different set of buildings and facilities. Kelly, who has never shown any sign of hesitancy to participate in every conversational thread that comes up, participated in the conversation to the fullest extent possible. She stated with total seriousness and impeccable comic timing that she'd always been fascinated about the experience of using a urinal, and that if she ever found herself in a position to confront one, she would most likely peek inside, in order to see. For the simple reason that she was really and uncomplicatedly curious about a component of the common human experience that she had never had access to. In a moment, the studio completely lost its wits. Reactions from the audience. The audience's response to Kelly's comment was a thing of genuine beauty in the sense that spontaneous, uncoordinated collective responses can be lovely. This is the precise method that true beauty can be achieved. It was not a single uniform chuckle that started it all off. The replies started off as separate ones, such as a shocked burst here and a happy laugh there, and they eventually cascaded into each other until the entire room was functioning as a single entity. The unique sound that is produced by an audience that has been really taken off guard as opposed to responding to a cue possesses a quality that is readily distinguishable from the more polite laughing that is produced in response to jokes that are anticipated. It is more audible, less controlled, and punctuated by the secondary noises of individuals reacting to their own emotions. These secondary sounds include the gasps, the "oh my gods," and the "I cannot believe she just said that's" that give the texture that lies beneath the primary event. Several members of the crowd were seen on camera or photographed adopting the distinctive physical posture that is associated with severe laughter. This posture involves leaning forward, covering one's mouth with one's hands, and exhibiting the involuntary full-body response that is characteristic of individuals who have been genuinely stunned into amusement. Others were simply grinning, with the typical face of those who had attended a television filming with the expectation of having a pleasant morning and ended up receiving a great deal more than they had bargained for. The answer lasted for a sufficient amount of time, but the conversation had to pause and regroup before it could continue. This is always a good clue that something truly humorous has occurred, as opposed to something that is merely nice. Observations made by the co-hosts. In the event that the audience displayed a delightful response, the co-host responses constituted their very own distinct type of entertainment. Despite the fact that Mark Consuelos has spent a sufficient amount of time in Kelly's orbit to have developed what can only be characterized as a finely tuned radar for oncoming Kelly moments, it seemed as though he was running somewhat behind the curve on this particular issue. His reaction followed the familiar arc that devoted viewers of the show know well: the initial processing pause, during which his expression registers the content of what has just been said, the brief, visible internal debate about the appropriate response, and then the inevitable surrender to genuine laughter, accompanied by the particular look of a man who finds his wife absolutely hilarious, especially when she has just said something that he could not have predicted in 1,000 years. In the realm of daytime television, this particular recurring dynamic is among the most appealing ones. Mark is the individual who, at times, need a brief period of distraction in order to catch up to Kelly at whichever location she has already arrived, and who, in the end, always finds himself there with her. All of the other co-hosts and guests who were present at the time provided their own comments, which ranged from astonished laughter to light-hearted commentary to the kind of admiring head-shaking that suggests someone is aware that they are in the midst of a natural and that there is nothing else to do but admire it. One of the things that makes these moments so interesting to witness is the way in which Kelly interacts with the people who are around her at the time. Her honesty is not something that she demonstrates in a Hoover. It is performed within the context of a romantic partnership, and the responses that she elicits become an integral part of the moment, adding an extra layer of humor and warmth to something that was already functioning effectively. Why the instance became so popular from the moment it was uploaded to social media platforms, the video clip quickly and extensively spread around the internet. It is not difficult to determine the explanation for this. The things that are able to break through in an information environment that is saturated with content that is fighting for attention tend to share a common quality. They are unexpected in a way that feels genuine rather than artificial. They give a perspective or a statement that reorganizes familiar material. The ordinary experience of public restrooms, in this case, in a way that is simultaneously unexpected and entirely rational once you hear it. The remark made by Kelly is effective on precisely that aspect, the insight that lies beneath it, which is that curiosity about experiences that are different from your own is a natural and even charming human quality, is one that the majority of people would quickly agree with. It was the precise and unguarded manner in which that interest was communicated that was the source of the hilarity. Into tangible technologies with commercial biologies with commercial promise, knowledges with commercial calmness. Kelly Ripa not only spoke it, but also gave the impression of being completely at ease with her statement. The range of warm replies on social media platforms encompassed the entire spectrum. To begin, there were the plain replies that expressed happiness. These were the videos that were shared with descriptions that consisted of nothing more than laughing emojis in Kelly Ripa's name. There were the reactions that expressed gratitude and placed the comment within the context of her larger public image. These comments pointed out that the comment was entirely in line with everything that they had grown to know and love about her. Additionally, there were the comments from individuals who appeared to be experiencing this characteristic of hers for the very first time. These individuals were beginners to the Kelly Ripa experience, and they discovered with clear pleasure that she is precisely as unfiltered as she is billed to be. This moment reflects the larger quality that is present. Her ability to manufacture moments such as this one, to say something utterly unexpected in a fully natural way and have it land as both humorous and adorable rather than startling or inappropriate, is a skill that deserves more recognition than it generally receives. Kelly Ripa is a talented performer who has the ability to generate moments such as this one. In retrospect, it is simple to make her moments appear as though they were effortless. However, effortlessness of this particular kind is the result of something that is real, a genuine comfort with herself. The absence of the self-monitoring that the majority of public figures develop as a form of professional protection, and a profound intuitive understanding of where the line is between saying something that is surprising and saying something that oversteps. Kelly has never given the impression of crossing that boundary, even when she is on the verge of doing so. Her honesty is in line with who she is as a person. She is friendly, self-aware, and attempts to connect with others rather than shock them. It is humorous because it is honest, and it is charming because it is 100% in line with the person who is saying it. The urinal statement is funny because it is honest. That is the present. Exactly, this is what 20 years or more of daytime television and a single joke that was delivered at the exact right moment have in common. Just now, she has made her point, and a majority of the time, it is absolutely correct.